Welcome to the Choose on Purpose podcast, where leaders live with intention. I'm your host, Becky Plutz, and today we are talking all about freedom and freedom, really, in the sense of releasing what no longer aligns with us and really creating space for what's next. So, this isn't about freedom as an escape or freedom avoiding responsibility, but freedom as an intentional release and knowing that freedom is found in caring less as we keep going. So, fearing less, releasing more, and living on purpose are kind of the anthems as we move into our freedom acronym today. And it's the strategy um, conversation, which means that I am joined by a few of our Level Up on Purpose community members. We have Kelly Fox in the room with us and Carrie
Hello.
Stromberg. Hey, Kel. Hey, Carrie.
Oh, there.
Hello, hello. So we'll be having a conversation today around the topic of freedom and liberation. That has been another word that we've been integrating throughout the month of June. And moving forward to letting go. Okay, so the framework that we're building on is freedom. That's the acronym we're going to use today. So I'll open it up by saying that the F is all about face what isn't working. Right? There's so many times that things are happening and we may have times that we're avoiding them or that we just don't see them. So really facing what isn't working, this brings freedom, and the freedom begins with being honest, right? This is a really core piece of facing what isn't working, was that we need to come with honesty and not judgment. So honesty is a core piece of this because you can't release what you refuse to recognize. So some of the questions to consider in the F of facing what no longer is working is, I want to ask, like, what have you recently realized was no longer working in your life or business? All right, I want you to start thinking about that. Um, and then, was there resistance to admitting it, right? To really facing it and kind of acknowledging the fact that it was there and recognizing it. And maybe what signs, right? What signs showed up before you finally did acknowledge this piece that's out of alignment, right? And I mean, really, the question that I bring to the table is like, why do women often stay in situations or experiences long after they've really outgrown them? I find this all the time. I've done it myself in situations, but like starting to really face it and being honest with what no longer is aligning with is a fast way to really like feel freeing and let go of those things. So um Kelly or Carrie, do either one of you have a story or something coming up for you around recently realizing something that wasn't working in your life or business that you're kind of either have admitted or you recognize that it's something that you want to give more attention to, thinking about freedom and facing it?
Um, one thing, one thing is like with my business is being more clear and setting clear boundaries with my clients about how I'm going to spend time and
Mhm.
what kind of access they have to me and what are like time frames around like when they need to get me information and when they can um expect for it to be done. Mm. Like
And
like
oh, you
giving
want to
me
introduce yourself
something.
too?
Oh, my name is Kelly Fox. I am a virtual assistant and fear mastery coach. Um
There you go.
and um like they'll call me that day or they'll message me that day and want something done immediately. or want
Hmm.
something done that day or wanting something done, quickly. And it's like, I was not planning on giving you time today. I can't always just fit you in immediately. Sometimes I can, but I'm
Hmm.
really wanting to um kind of look at who I'm really working with on a regular basis and like assigning them days where it's like, if you have something that you need me done and it's a Monday, I have time set aside for you on a Monday. If it's Thursday, I'm not doing it until Monday.
Hmm.
Something like that because unless previously discussed, right? Like
Yeah.
on a regular basis, I work for you this time or this time or this time on this week.
Hmm.
Um because I have this one particular client who will just text me out of the blue and say, I need this. And they want me to do it right then.
Hmm.
Or they want me to, um, well, for Terry, she just wants me to stop what I'm doing and do what she needs. And I can talk about her because she's my mom. So, and I think it has to do with, just our relationship, it's
Sure.
different than my other clients. But I have other clients that do this too, but I'm not going to call them out. So, it's like I need to clearly communicate
Yeah.
that there are certain ways that if they need something done, when they need to get me the information and how long it can take for me to get it done for them, you know? So like
Yeah.
if they have a project for me, they know I need all of the information by Tuesday because that's the day I work for them. You know what I mean? Something to that
Hmm.
effect to see if something like that can work so that I'm not just getting, bombarded on
Well, yeah, it's not
on one
sustainable.
day with all of this stuff that I need to get done for them. Um,
Right.
you know, and so
Right.
that I can really schedule my time out.
Hmm. Yeah, that's not sustainable without having those boundaries, like you said, to figure out like how it's possible to give, I mean, the time that is needed for each client, but also more clear boundaries on specific days or opportunities, or you have like anyone that wants it fast, like there's a different kind of premium for that kind of um, you know, 911 situation of people wanting something done fast that maybe they didn't expect was coming and they need your support. That would be a great opportunity for an upsell with people too, just to give them the care that they need if you have the space to do it. But it also is an investment that, that could be facing something really honestly to say, like, I can do it and this is what that is, and having that conversation ahead of time. So, was there any resistance for you coming to this realization and facing that
Well,
that wouldn't
yeah,
work for you?
there's resistance because like I don't know it will take time and energy to figure out what days
Yeah.
I want to assign people
Mm-hmm.
and then actually having the conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone needs it. It's the people that I work for or that call on me on a routine basis. Like the people who just give me projects every once in a while, I don't really need to put them on any kind of scheduling system because they don't really have like these emergency demands on my time.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
when they give me the project, we discuss the time frame of when things need to be done. And I tell them, okay, I've got room for this on this day. I can get it done by this day.
Okay.
So it's the people that I work with on a regular basis that um that kind of um is the challenge
Mm-hmm.
where sometimes they're last minute with getting me stuff or they're unclear on what they want me to do. Like I have this one client that's like new and she's like, "Oh, just post every few days." And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "That is not
Yeah.
instruction." Tell me,
Right.
post on
So,
Tuesdays, Fridays, Mondays. You know what I mean? Like I want
yeah,
to
like they
know
need to make those
exactly what you
decisions.
want and stuff. So and so I've been trying to communicate that with her. Um and um it's just it's a process because she's new, so we're learning how will work together and how she works and how I work and what I need and what she wants to give and all
Hmm.
of that kind of stuff. Like if she just wants to give it to me to make up my mind, then I'll just set my own schedule. If
Yeah.
she doesn't care. But yeah, so just that clearer communication, it's going to take, you know, time and energy to set aside to actually put that all together for myself and then a different kind of energy to present it to the client.
Yeah. And right in these situations for our listeners too, like with anything, it's going to take effort, it's going to take time up front. And then what I like to do is like really look at much time it's going to save you in the future. From those things that are, it's like, okay, my business is going to be doing so well along the way that like these paths are going to need to get figured out or it's going to crash. And having the clear boundaries and the contracts that kind of state these things more, and like you can serve them on different levels and all of that. It's just protecting you as the business person that is doing the work, and having that clear communication with people is definitely face what isn't working now so that it doesn't become a bigger thing along the way. Love that. Okay, so the R is release the story. Release the story, right? Many times it's not the circumstance keeping us stuck in our life or business. It's really the story that we're telling ourselves about the circumstance, about the experience, about this thing in our life that we say is holding us back or keeping us stagnant, right? And the identity in it, what we hold on to, and the meaning we're actually attaching to the circumstance. That's what really keeps us stuck, stagnant, to keeping us still and moving forward and feeling like we have less and less freedom in our lives. So every liberation begins with a new narrative, right? Changing the story to be something more empowering, to see the possibility. And the question would be like, what story have you had to release about yourself, right? What belief has kept you carrying something longer than necessary, maybe? And another question would be like, how did that story impact your confidence or decisions that you're making? Because they are, if we slow down long enough to recognize like this is affecting the way that I want to say yes or the things that I say no to, a lot comes up with that. And what really becomes possible when you stop believing it, the story, right? The negative side of the story, what's really holding you back. When we stop believing that, we're opening up space, we're creating more opportunities along the way by releasing the story of the thing that we're maybe not facing or that we are taking long to face, right? So those are some of the questions that I had for thinking about releasing the story. Um, and Carrie, I saw you came off mute. Did you want to share something around a topic?
Yeah, well, even if we kept the theme of boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and then we released the story off of boundaries. So there's a lot with that because when boundaries are broken, we really set them for ourselves, right? Like we want other
Yeah.
people to abide by these boundaries, but they're really for ourselves. So if I think about somebody breaking one of those, like for example, Kelly mentioned, like, maybe having certain times when certain clients can reach out to her, kind of like office hours for a
Mm-hmm.
professor is what I think about for that. That's what came to
Yeah.
my mind. But anyway, when somebody breaks those office hours or they're calling, then I feel like we could create a story surrounding that, like, oh, they're not respecting my time. they're not being mindful of what I have going on. So then there's a story that could surround that versus being like, oh, they really need help right now. This is what I set for my boundaries. I want them to call me at this time. So is there a way that I can reach out to them and say, hey, I understand you need something right now, and then stay present as much as possible. So I think that the stories can release when we're present, and then how we handle that. So instead of, in Kelly's situation with boundaries, I'm trying to say if we were to ruminate over a story surrounding why the client did that, those stories aren't necessarily factual and true in the present moment. So it's almost as if we'd have to come back to the present moment and release those stories. And I think that's the way that we can become most healthy, if you will, when we create boundaries or when we're working with any relationship, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because all relationships involve boundaries, and yes.
Yeah, whether we realize it or not.
Exactly. Yes. Whether we realize it or not. Yes. And I think that the stories become really harmful because our brain is just trying to protect us all the time, and it will come up with all these different reasons. But really, like, a lot of those stories that we are telling ourselves aren't really true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so I'm going to move into the first E for our acronym of freedom, which is now that we're in the process of facing what isn't working and then releasing the story around it. Like, now the E is to evaluate what still aligns, right? Because there's going to be some give and take in the scenarios. So not everything that once served us belongs in the next season or the next chapter, the next transition of where you're going in your life or your business, right? Alignment changes as we continue to grow. And we are, especially if you're listening to this podcast. You're here for growth and continuing to, realign with what's right for you in this new phase of life. So do you personally know when something no longer aligns with you, right? What role has self-trust played in making the decisions as you're evaluating, right? And looking for what really is still in alignment with you. Have you ever stayed committed to something simply because you said yes years ago? Oof. I'm sure some women are like, yeah, I've done that before too. We think I'll say I can think about making commitments and just sticking it out and thinking how it's going to get better as we get through this rough patch or this other thing that's happening, looking to the future and finding that next thing. But there's definitely been situations where it's like, it's a lot more like worky work kind of thing because it's not fun or I'm not finding enjoying it anymore. And I am someone that truly believes that work on purpose with purpose is about the self-work, the things that light us up, the passion that we have for life, and really being intentional about finding those pieces that align with us. And yeah, outsource to a VA, outsource to people that will do the things that are not your joy space, that are not your passion, so that you can stay more in your joy space. And that's kind of where this evaluating what still aligns is super important, because in those pieces, there's alignment that's changing as you're continuing to evolve and grow, that if we're not taking the time to recognize that, we won't see, right, those stories that there's still good in there too. It's not all negative. We're looking for those pieces that still align as well. So how do you differentiate, right, between discomfort that helps you grow and that misalignment that asks you to let go of something that is no longer in alignment? So
Yeah.
either one of you have Carrie, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, there's a story worth telling, and I think sometimes when we connect inward, then we can find that story that's worth telling. And so I personally like to do the good old pros and cons list when I'm evaluating something. And then,
Yep.
something always falls in between the middle. It's not so black and white, but it's kind of interesting to get both of those and take what we can and maybe bits and pieces of both and add it, because as we know, growth is never linear.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I pictured the two circles that overlap and then that sliver in the middle is that gray area. Pros, cons, and like in the
Yeah,
middle
I
is where
did
we
too,
can
actually. I was thinking, yeah, two circles and funny.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly it. Okay, so the second E is empty the space.
You didn't give us a question.
Oh, but I did. I'll give you lots of questions. How do you, oh, I didn't put them in the chat. I'll put it in the chat for you. The last one I said was, how do you differentiate between the discomfort that helps you grow and misalignment that asks you to let go? There was quite a few questions. I popped them in the chat too. How do you personally know when something no longer aligns? Right? This is that's for the evaluation when you're really looking at what still aligns with you. All right, I'm going to move to the second E, which is to empty the space. Okay, so nature teaches us this too, right? Pruning creates growth. Cutting away the dead leaves, the things that are no longer, like they are sucking the life out of the rest of what's meant to grow. So emptying the space, most women, or some women, I'll say some, I won't say most, some women want something new while leaving room for it. So, the concept of like burning the ship or burning the boat or, letting go of the things completely, it's definitely there. And we want our cake and want to eat it too, right? Like we want to be able to have the things and still leave space for the other things to come in. But what have you intentionally removed from your calendar, from your business, from your relationships recently to make more space for freedom? Right?
Yeah.
What does that space create? Like, what did that create when you did that? And you create the space on your calendar in your daily tasks or day-to-day life. Like, what did that create space for?
I can answer this pretty quickly just because it's right at the top of my tongue. My name's Kiri, which everyone knows, and I'm a trauma-informed yoga instructor. So recently I actually stopped teaching so many community classes so I could then connect into myself and what I needed to learn and get a little bit more knowledge, and also to work more one-on-one with people to go a little bit further in someone else's journey with something maybe they're looking to change or improve in their life within the whole body, like the mind and the body together.
Mm-hmm.
So I can totally relate to that. And at first it felt awkward because I cut out some time that I enjoyed doing, but it wasn't necessarily thriving. It wasn't my favorite thing to go to a bunch of community classes and be hurried from one place to another, to another, to another, when it seemed I had more effect working one-on-one with people, more of an impact, and to see their growth, which, yeah. And it took time for me to sit with that and figure out what is it that I really want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Kiri, what does breathing room mean to you now?
Breathing room?
Yeah.
That's a really great question. And I'd say breathing room to me is taking a pause. So not to be so hurried and thinking I'm going to be able to do everything from point A to point B in one day. So it's breathing room to me is taking my own space to rebuild my energy. Is really what that means to me, is to take that pause or that beat.
Awesome.
And it doesn't always necessarily have to be quiet. It could be in a transition. I'm driving right now. It could be even in a transitional state of just breathing while I'm driving.
Being mindful is what I think of too,
Right.
you know?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Okay, our D for freedom is decide again. One of my favorite truths is that we are allowed to choose again. I mean, it's a big reason that the podcast is called Choose on Purpose. I play off the words a few different ways, but one of the main things is that I am definitely someone that lives by that we can choose intentionally. And even when somehow, some way down the road, we feel like that wasn't the exact choice that was the best. Oh, great, great. We do have the freedom to choose again. We can decide to change something specific. We can make a new decision or choice around the things as we continue to grow and evolve, because new opportunities come and misalignments or out of alignment things happen as we continue to grow. So you always are allowed to choose again. And changing your mind isn't failure. It's often about growth. Like I said, it's the evolution, it's understanding and giving ourselves the permission to choose differently, to choose again. So where has that been coming up for you, right? Like, where have you given yourself permission to choose differently recently? Or what commitment no longer is fitting the woman you're intentionally choosing to become? Why do so many women feel guilty about that? Changing directions. You know, starting, I heard this multiple times, even this morning at an event. A few women were talking about, you know, how their teenagers don't know what they want to do with the rest of their lives, but they're like, well, who am I to say anything? I'm on like my fifth career. Like, I don't know. We're just, you know, going along and making new choices as we continue to evolve and grow as human beings. So let's remove the guilt in that, right? And let's just remember that we can choose differently. We can make a new choice. We can change directions. And really, what wisdom would that offer, you know, to be able to know that we could pivot? The freedom that comes with knowing, like, really, how many times is it going to be life or death? If we choose something, we can, you know, go choose something again. We can pivot from there. And that's growth. So the O for our freedom acronym is open. Open to what's next.
I ran out of room.
Go to the next page, Cal. Find a page in your planner. Yeah, it's probably a good thing I'm not taking notes. I use my digital notes. So open to what's next is our O, right? The moment we release something, that gives an opening for possibility, right? Possibility can enter when we let go of those things that are out of alignment. So opening to what's next is the next key point, because you don't always know what's coming next, but you can trust yourself to meet it. So what opportunity has arrived or can arrive after you let something go, right? When you open up that space. How has surrender created those unexpected growth opportunities in the past that you can recognize and see more evidence around? When I've done this, like, it's been supportive. It opened up the possibilities and the opportunities to come to me in the new season of life. So what are you opening yourself to in this next chapter, this next season, this transition in your life? And I love to always talk about that excitement. Like, what excites you the most about what is ahead? So being open to those questions being answered along your path is going to give you just so much more opportunity to recognize the freedom that is in releasing and letting go. And that's building that trust with yourself again, to just meet it. All right, and then I'll just move to the M right away so we can have a little bit more discussion as we move through this. So the M to wrap up our acronym is move with intention. Freedom is not passive. And Carrie even said like growth is nonlinear, right? And freedom is a choice that we practice. That intentionality, that mindfulness is what really comes to mind for me. You know, freedom isn't about the destination. It really is a way of living. And that's something that I've learned about myself over the years when I'm like fully get into it. Yeah, Kel.
What's M again?
Move with intention. Move with intention. Because freedom is a choice that we practice. It's a way of living. So what intentional action are you taking? Because of what you released, right? That letting go has happened through this framework. So then what intentional action would be going in for where you've released? And maybe that's not putting something specific on your calendar or a task, but maybe it is about going for a walk, you know, making some movement, doing a yoga class, doing journaling, actually sitting with these types of questions on a more of a regular basis than action oriented outside of self, right? As I mentioned, my belief is that, you know, work on purpose is all about doing your self work, going inward and growing from the inside out. And that is a way of living. It is being intentional. So, how does freedom show up differently in your daily life now when we think about this framework that we face what isn't working? We release the story. We evaluate what still aligns. We empty the space. We decide again. We open to what's next. And then moving with intention. That was the rundown of the acronym. You know, and think about what does living on purpose mean to you in this next phase of life for you? And then I would love to challenge you to think of like one thing that you would take from here. I know I ask a lot of questions on here, and I'm hoping that you journal on these and go deeper for yourself, but like even just picking one, right? Of how you want to move and the thing you're going to release and working through this process with one specific understanding of what's coming. So I would love to encourage Kelly and Carrie on here. I would love to think about completing this sentence and hearing from you both and any other takeaway you want to share from our acronym. So the sentence is, I feel most free when, and then fill in the blank. I feel most free when. Carrie, you're muted if you're talking. I can't see you, so. Kel, how about you?
Um,
I feel most free when. When do you feel most free?
I think, I give myself space to be myself.
Hmm.
So, if that's laying on my bed watching Hallmark, and I'm giving myself the space to do that. I'm not beating myself up. I'm not judging it. I'm not saying, oh, I should be doing this instead of this. When I just give myself space to lay there and watch it, whatever it might be. It might be not Hallmark. I feel free when I'm in the flow of working on a project, and I feel good about what I'm creating. I feel free when I'm actively involved in coaching or in really doing anything intentionally. I feel free.
Mm.
So it's really on how I approach things. If I'm approaching them with the in fear, right? Like because I should or because I have to or something with that attitude, it doesn't feel free.
Mhm.
Right? So
Yeah.
when I'm choosing something, regardless of what it is, I'm coming to with that attitude of I'm choosing to do this. Um, and it is okay, regardless of what it is. Um, then I'm in freedom, or I have, a feeling of being free. But when I'm like making myself do something and I'm coming from, because I might make myself do something in freedom, but I'm making myself do something and I'm coming from the attitude of I should do this, I should want to do this, I need to do this, I have to do this, you know then no, don't feel good. Mm-mm.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love what you said, Kelly, because I feel like those are the stories that we tell ourselves, right? I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I need to be
Mhm.
doing this and that. So I think you're right. I think that most freedom is in the flow when we're not thinking, when we're really present, really. So if you're present watching TV or you're present doing our work or we're present, then I think that's really where the freedom lies.
So how would you complete the sentence? I feel most free when?
Well, are you asking Kelly that?
No, you.
Oh, well, I feel most free when I'm when I'm aligned with my intention.
I love it.
Yeah, I think
Aligned.
did that not record before? I thought maybe I said it earlier, but maybe it didn't.
I
I
don't
wasn't
know.
unmuted or something. Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. What I love about those two tie-ins too is like freedom isn't about having no responsibilities, right? That's that idea of like, oh, escape or, no personal responsibility. No, we're talking about freedom being about carrying the right ones, the ones that feel like flow. You said flow, Carrie, the ones that feel exciting or impactful for you and for other people, right? The freedom is in the intention and the understanding and the attitude, like Kelly was saying too, the attitude of what we're bringing to it. It's about releasing what no longer aligns so that we can fully embrace who we are choosing to become. And the woman that we're growing into doesn't need more pressure. She needs more space. She needs more truth and more alignment and probably the more permission to choose on purpose to like do it again and be okay with um doing that. So
Yeah.
thank
And I think sometimes just creating that space is writing down. So sometimes if I want to veg out or watch TV or if I want to get into a flow zone, I actually write a list of maybe the things that I have to do, like maybe tomorrow if it's at night and I'm watching TV. Then that's just so helpful to write it down to get into that present state of feeling like, oh, I can unwind. Like for some reason, it just feels like when I write that down and make the list, that responsibility then kind of gets put on the back burner for when I have more energy or a different kind of energy or, you know, whatever it might be
Mhm.
to get me into that flow state again. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that. Thank you, Carrie and Kelly, for joining us on the strategy hour to share some examples of, really what's happening in life and knowing like we're using this framework, we're moving through these in different ways. So I thank you for sharing and being here today. And empower your journey, choose on purpose, and let us know how this episode has supported you and share it with a friend. We would love to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you, Becky.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.